Hey everyone, I'm Chef Bryan, cooking fresh with Klondike brands, and today I've got a great recipe for you. It's a scallop actually wrapped in bacon, but rather than using a real scallop, we're going to use the Klondike Rose potato. It's the red skin potato with the heart of gold, and it's going to be a family favorite here, either on an appetizer or you can make it for a main entree for that matter. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, the key to today's recipe is all in the potato, and I'm using the Klondike Rose, and I've already boiled up, left the skins on them because of the paper-thin skin, and I haven't added anything else to it, but it has that beautiful buttery color already, and that's the beauty of the Klondike Rose. It already gives me that wonderful color and creamy texture, so you don't have to add a lot into it to get that. And so that's ready to go, mashed them up, and all we're going to do is add the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to put some eggs into it, as well as some paprika, a little bit of salt and pepper, blue cheese, green onions, and then we're going to roll the scallops in some breadcrumbs. And the key here is the tarragon. Now, tarragon is one of the spices that you use all the time with seafood. And so to kind of give our mock scallops wrapped in bacon that little seafood twist to it, I'm going to use some dried tarragon in it. So let's go ahead and just mix this all together. So just a little bit of salt and pepper, and salt and pepper is really up to your own taste. So add as much or as little as you need to. I personally like a little bit of pepper because I do like the bite in it. So salt and pepper to it. Let's go ahead and put in the tarragon. Tarragon can be kind of strong at times, so you want to adjust it. So if you're not a big fan, just put a little bit in, or you can put in the amount that I put in there. So just add that right into the potatoes. Add in your chopped green onions, and it's important to use fresh green onions. Don't use the dried ones. You want the fresh in there because of the flavor. I have a lot of people actually that ask me how much of the green onion should they actually use when they're chopping it up. I always tell them go up as far as you can. Use all of it. Use the white part, go up the green part. What you want to do is just not use that very end part where it's kind of dry and brittle. So just cut that off as well as the root part, but use all of it. Don't waste any of it. Now the eggs, 3 large eggs. Remember, if a recipe doesn't tell you the size of the egg, it is a default to just large eggs. So just go ahead and use 3 large eggs in here. So just add those into it. And blue cheese is one of those cheeses that sometimes people are like, oh, it's a little too strong, it's a little too weak. You can use a Maytag, you can use a Gorgonzola if you want to. It just wants that blue cheese flavor in there. Now to save a little bit of time, I like to use crumbled because then I don't have to crumble it myself and it's already done. But if you have a block of blue cheese in your fridge, just use it. Just crumble it up, put it in a food processor, chop it up if you need to. You just want it crumbled, you want it in that bite-sized pieces. So just add that in, and I'm a big fan of blue cheese, so we're going to add a lot of blue cheese into that. And last but not least, I'm going to add some paprika. Now once you get everything in there, all you're going to do is just simply mix it together. So now once you get all of that mixed together, that's it. Now you can actually stop at this stage if you want to, cover it, put it in the refrigerator until you're ready to go, and then bring it out and form them as you want to. But what you want to do to shape them, I have my breadcrumbs, and I like to use panko breadcrumbs. It is a Japanese style breadcrumb, which is actually a little coarser than just regular breadcrumbs. It gives it a nice crunch on the outside. So that's important. If you can't find them, don't worry about it. Just use a regular breadcrumb. But if you can, it's a great choice. So I'm going to set that right there. Put these together for a second so I can have a little space here. And let me show you how to shape these. It's really very easy to do. What you do is you just take a little bit in your hand, and then you're going to form it just like a scallop. There we go. Kind of flatten off the top and the bottom. Give it a round shape. And there we go. We have our mock little scallop that we're going to wrap in the bacon. Now this is important. Depending on the size or the length of your bacon strip, you're going to want to adjust how big or how small you make these little mock scallops. So if you want them smaller, you only want to use a half of a strip of bacon, just make them smaller. Okay, so there we go. Wrap that in there. Just take your breadcrumbs. You're going to dip it right into there. Just give it a nice little coating. So now you have this coated scallop. Take your piece of bacon and just start at one edge, and you're just going to essentially roll that right around. Now, I do like to have some that overlaps on there because this is going to help the bacon stay together. If it's too short, what happens when you finish baking it off, the bacon shrinks and it opens up. And so you want it to stay wrapped around it, so be sure that you have some that wraps around it. So we'll just flatten that out so we look like we have our scallop. Now, this is the trick that you want to do when you're trying to seal up those edges. And all you do is you just take the bacon, find the seam side, which is right here, find where that seam side is. This is going to go right down in the pan, and that's what's going to seal that seam together. So just put it right seam side down in that pan, and to make sure that it stays upright like this, just kind of press a little bit down on there and get a nice flat surface on the bottom of there. So here are the other ones. Let's put that one in there as well. Turn up the heat there. And just put seam side down. Don't forget, seam side down. And now we're going to let those just sear. These are ready to go, and you can see that they've sealed together on that edge, and that's exactly what you want it to do. So let's just put these onto our baking sheet, check and make sure. If they start to come unraveled, just simply take a toothpick and just kind of thread them and hold them together like that. Now once you get it onto the baking sheet, I'm going to give them a little help with the shape again so they stay round, because while it was in the pan I kind of pressed down so they had a flat side so they didn't tip over in the pan. And this is going to go into a fairly hot oven, about 400 degrees, for 10 to 12 minutes or until that bacon is fully cooked. So let's get these in the oven, and there we go. Now while those are finishing up, they just have a couple of minutes. I want to show you how to put together a cucumber dill sauce, which is perfect with these. So all you need is simply some dill. You can use fresh or you can use dried, whatever you have. Some mayonnaise, some yogurt, and here's a great tip. Make sure it's not French vanilla yogurt. Sometimes they look the same. Make sure it's a plain yogurt. Also, you're going to want some red pepper flakes for a spice, and a diced up cucumber. Now, the cucumber in the recipe calls for a de-seeded cucumber, and all you do is simply take one, cut it in half lengthwise, take a spoon, and scrape out the seeds in the center. That's how you take the seeds out of the cucumber, and then just dice it up. So to start it, we're just going to add in the dill. There we go. Adjust it to your own flavor if you like more or if you like less. Let's add in some of the red pepper flakes. I like it a little spicy. There we go. Add in our cucumber. There we go. And last but not least, let's put in our mayonnaise and our yogurt. And just that friendly little reminder, make sure it's plain yogurt. Maybe I'm speaking from experience. There we go. Then you're going to adjust the salt and pepper to your own taste. Just simply mix this together. You can make this a day in advance if you wanted to. Let it sit in the refrigerator. Very easy to do, and that's all there is to the sauce. That looks great. I love dill. I think dill is one of those herbs that just smells so fresh and perfect in the kitchen. I love it. So let's take a look. These are done, so let's pull them from the oven. And you don't want it to cook so much that the bacon begins to shrink up so much, and it will actually squish the potato right out the top like a mushroom. So you want to be careful, catch it before it does that. There we go. Close that oven. And to plate this up, to finish it, I'm just going to take my tongs, and we're just going to pick one or two of these, depending on how large or how small they are, is how you're going to finish plating them on the plate themselves. So let's just pick another one here. There we go. And let's do one more. Here's a great little tip if you are into plate presentations and that. Everything goes better in odd numbers. So either 1 or 3 or 5. That's kind of important to remember. So there's our 3. And it does have the toothpicks in there. You'll just want to remove them. Let the guests know to remove them before they eat them. We're going to take our sauce. Take a spoon. Just spoon some right over it. Oh, that looks so good. There we go. One more. And I have some chopped fresh parsley here. Just take that, sprinkle it right on top for a little color. And then, of course, no seafood is finished without some lemon wedges. So just take one. And these are large enough scallops that you can actually put one right on top of each one. There we go. And here's one more. Oh, that looks so good. That would be perfect for any appetizer or main entree. It's a scallop wrapped with bacon, but we're kind of sneaky. We use the Klondike Rose potato in there. I'm Chef Bryan, cooking fresh with Klondike brands, and I look forward to sharing more Klondike family recipes with you in the future. I'll see you all next time.